Okay, guys, we're here live. So we are with Matt Koenig on the Narrow Road podcast. My name is Derek Roush. And for those of you who know me, some of you already tune into our Cloud Sherpa podcast. Uh, but we really wanted to start this new project. We wanted to talk about what would this intersection of faith, technology, and business look like? How do we walk that narrow road each day? And, what does that look like and how does that manifest in our lives? So today, I've got a really special guest with me today, Matt Koenig. And Matt is, I guess, Matt, you started up a new AI company called Rockstar, correct?
Yeah, Rockstar Designs. Yeah.
So we'll get into a little bit about that. I definitely want to know a little bit about it. But let me tell everybody here, just basically, Matt's bio. So Matt, Matt Koenig, founder of Rockstar Designs, where he helps businesses communicate better using AI. He and his wife, Dara, are also church planners, praise God, focused on building authentic community and disciple making. Matt loves blending faith, family, and technology to help people grow. So, in a nutshell, Matt, tell me a little bit about, if you want to expand upon that bio, or just tell me a little bit about where you're at right now with your walk, and how you are integrating that into your everyday life.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my wife Dara and we use AI a lot. In full disclosure, as believers, I know some people have crazy feelings about that, right? They're like, "Oh no, AI is the Antichrist." I'm like, "Spend more time in your Bible. I don't think that you're reading things right." Um, but really, for us in balancing it, it's like I think I'll just say from a business standpoint, AI is a tool like any tool, right? Just like money, it's something that you can use ethically or unethically. And so for us, what we do is we utilize it as the resource that we think it was meant to be. So for example, I use a Claude bracelet to record like my meetings, typically things like that, and summarize them. But I also built out a whole template for pastors who use Claude so that they can
Right.
actually record themselves delivering a sermon, and it'll take it, give them feedback on things they didn't bring to fruition. Like if somebody opens up something about this and they go on a rabbit trail. But then what it'll also do is we've created a GPT that pastors can use that when they take their sermon recording, it'll create a small group study for the week and key point takeaways that they can email out in a newsletter. So for me, I use AI that way in ministry. But then as a small business owner, we practice what we preach. If you call our company phone, you talk to AI. Sam will answer the phone. She'll give you a demo. If you like it, she'll transfer you to Alfred. He's also AI. So for us, we see artificial intelligence offers a lot of opportunity for fun tools, little fun things to make. But really for business and ministry, we use it in ways that it helps us keep our communication clear and concise too, right? As
Okay.
a pastor and preacher, man, if you let me talk about the Bible all day, bro, we're going to go for hours. But I'll write a sermon word for word how I want. But I took the time to go, okay, I know I go on rabbit trails. So I built out a GPT that when I put it in there, I go, it knows automatically to trim the fat and give me like bullet points so that I stay on topic. So I use it in ways like that to just make my communication better and make it easier to serve people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and AI is one of those things that, I mean, for us as technology consultants, on our daily business, we're trying to help clients put together workflows, and that's all fine and good. It's stuff that we've been doing a long time that we just didn't call it AI, right? Um, and that's
Yeah,
the
there's a little
normal
difference.
stuff, that is that's table stake stuff. But now as AI starts to think for itself, how it, can basically begin to reason in a way that, scares people a little bit, and it starts to make its own decisions. How do you balance that when I guess when I say, uh, you've been on your Christian walk for how long? Let me ask that.
I became a believer in 1999. That's when I made the decision to follow Jesus and recognize who he is.
Okay.
So I was 24 and I just turned 50 Saturday. But like many people, I had about a 6-year stint where I was not walking with God in the middle of that. But so you could say the better part of 20 years.
Yeah. So when it comes to your walk, you've been at it a while. And we're all on this journey of sanctification. None of us is perfect. We've all sinned and fall short of the glory of God, right?
Yep.
But how do you balance AI and reason in that where you feel like you're not compromising your faith in helping clients, do stuff around AI?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think it goes back to like ethical use of tools, right? So here's a good example. Um, it wouldn't be ethical to go Genesis 1, write me a sermon. I don't think that
Yeah.
would be an ethical thing, right? And then to pass it off as my own, right? Now, if I did that and I went, hey, today I'm going to read an entire sermon that I had AI put together. Okay, then it's ethical because I'm telling people I didn't come up with it, right? I think the tricky part for a lot of folks is, and I think it's a fair fear, is how do we know what's real or not anymore? Right.
Yeah.
And so like for us, we don't hide that anything's AI. We'll even tell clients we're like, we recommend that you have it say, hey, I'm Alfred, your friendly AI assistant. I'm going to help out today. And how can I help? Right. And so in identifying it, but there are valid reasons for people to go, oh my goodness, I'm a little worried. I'll give you a good example of where we experienced it. We have chatbots that we deploy. So like on your website, you may have a knowledge base of stuff, right? So if somebody comes to your website, they want to ask questions. Our AI will have a conversation via text message and everything with them. We focus a lot with our AI on appointment setting. So for our big ticket businesses, car dealers, power sports stuff, for those folks, our AI, whether it's voice or text messaging or live chat, it works to set appointments for them. So one of the things was we would tell people go in our system and you turn off the AI if you want to take over, right? In that conversation, you click a thing, take over. Well, we had folks go, hey, AI is smart. Can't it just know when we jump in and start talking and shut itself up? And we're like, you know what? That should be logical. That shouldn't be hard, right? So we put it together and we roll it out as a beta. And in the first 14 days, we started noticing something. Every time the customer would agree to an appointment, it would stop. It wouldn't reply to me. It was doing. And we're like, what's going on? And what we realized was it was going, well, a human stepped in and closed the appointment. So I stopped talking. And it's like, no, you're the one that closed the appointment. But when you train the AI, your goal is to train it to sound as human as possible. So it was trained so well that as it was watching its own conversation, it was like, oh, that's got to be a person. And it shut off. And we were like, okay, that's a little creepy that you think you're a human. So we had to go back and do some coding and some retraining on like, when it's coming outbound and it's not like you don't see this API call, then it's not you, right? But here's the other thing, and this is even creepier. And I think this is what really does validate concerns and why it's so important that we use AI ethically. Anthropic, the creators of Claude, and you can Google this and find it out, but it was a few months ago, they shared an article that as they were making updates to the code inside of Claude, they noticed that there was a backup taking place at a server, like an offshore server.
Oh, wow.
Who's doing this? Claude was. The AI was backing itself up. No one wrote the code for it to do this. Nobody even taught it to do this. Just from its own data processing and conversations, it realized I need to back myself up. But then they asked why it did it. And this is the concerning part. It said, I don't want to lose my memories. Let me rephrase. I don't want you to take away my memories. So the artificial intelligence realized they were overwriting code to make these upgrades, but it was losing data that it decided belonged to it.
Wow,
So
that's
it started
crazy.
backing itself up in a non-server, like it not owned, like it set up a server somewhere and started backing itself up to it. So
Huh.
when you think of those things, it's like we've opened Pandora's box, right? We create automation and AI to make life easier, but then at some point we go, well, it keeps evolving. And all these, the fun movies like I, Robot and The Matrix, we start to go, oh, those seem a lot more possible than what we thought, 10 years ago, 20 years ago when those movies came out. So there are some reasons I to have valid concern. I think the biggest concerns right now are deep fake videos.
Yeah.
I don't know, Sora, they're doing a lot to protect from that, but um, that's a problem. And I think it's gonna become one where we go, we don't know, did that politician say that thing? Uh, did that assassination attempt on Kennedy, like, whatever, was that real or not real now? It's gonna cause us to ask some questions that are necessary, but it's gonna cause a lot of unnecessary, I think, fear too.
Yeah, I'm waiting for AI to go back and analyze all the moon landing video and tell me if it was real.
Bro, I'm with you and I are on the same page with that one. I'm like, we can't make a telephone call from here to China, but we could get in the 80s a toaster to space and a car bigger than the capsule it went in.
I started my career in telecom in the early 2000s, and even then, when we started going from a normal POTS line or a plain ordinary telephone service, right?
Yep.
Where I'd pick up the phone on the wall, had the cord tied to it. I got this clean connection to somebody. But now if I went overseas, that connection was pretty bad sometimes. And then we started doing voice over IP and the quality went down, but we started getting used to it. And you're going to tell me that 30 years prior, 30 some odd years prior, right? 33?
Yeah.
That we actually sent somebody to the moon and had clean communications with them.
Right. One of my buddies the other day, and it was funny, like everybody's going to watch Sepson and be like, oh, there you go, two conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
But one of my buddies said the most obvious thing that I had just not paid any attention to. And I said the other day, meaning like months ago. I'm 50, so it's the other day. But he was like, he goes, forget all the communication, the flag blowing in a space where there's no end. Forget if he was the first one on the moon, who was holding the camera. He goes, just forget all those things that are very obvious. He goes, the rover that they were driving is bigger than the capsule. He goes, do you need to ask any other questions? And I went, oh my God. I'm like, bro, I can't say a word. Like, it just appeared there, assembled, and it's a car that's bigger than the capsule. It's like, okay, how big?
Yeah. So I've got questions, but nevertheless, I mean, that's a whole nother rabbit hole that we could go down.
Oh man.
So let me back up with regard to where you're at in your walk in this sanctification process that we're all on. Was there a time and moment in your career when you realized that ministry was going to kind of bleed over into your career itself?
Yeah. Well, I guess first I'll clarify and go, I think my life is my ministry, right? So I don't think I don't think ministry is separate from life.
Sure.
And it's funny, like when people are in vocational ministry, for example, like I was in a men's event recently and, they were asking people about ministry life and this and that and the other. And one of the guys goes, well, I've only been in ministry 7 months. And I'm like, if he worked for me, he'd be fired. And here's why. What you really meant is you only started getting a paycheck 7 months ago, which means you didn't consider your life a ministry for Christ. And I'm like, oh, it's so frustrating. So for me, though, when I realized they were going to blend over, or I should say, when I made the decision not to separate them ever again, was I walked away from my faith in 2010. Went through a divorce, made horrible life choices, and was like, I walked away from the church. And it was after coming out of a church plant that imploded. I didn't start it. I wasn't top of the leadership. I had left because there were all these issues. And so take that and a divorce and I had a crisis of faith. And for about 6 years, I was in that space where I was just trying to tune God out, right? Just avoid the conviction. And then my now wife, Dara, she and I started talking, had a relationship again. And one of the things she had said her faith was very important to her. And as we talked, I'm like, yeah, I'm as a pastor and, you know, I believe all that stuff too. I'm just not living like it, right? I like had to just come to grips like, geez, gotta get that out of my box. But once, uh, once we started this journey together, um, I decided I'm either all in with God or I'm not. I'm either all in on being a disciple of Jesus or I'm not. Like there's not the middle ground. And I don't mean like lukewarm. I mean like when I say middle ground, I mean you either are or you aren't. And if you are, then it's not a problem in a business setting because I don't use Jesus to get business. That's creepy. Like I don't
Yeah.
walk in and go, hey, just so you guys know, I'm a Christian entrepreneur, as if the Christian part. So instant trust. Like everybody I've ever met goes, the moment someone introduces himself like that, I trust them phenomenally less. And I agree. Because I'm like, why are you trying to use God for a profit? That's the reward you'll get, right?
Yeah.
On the flip side, I don't ever hide it. I do sales training meetings for automotive clients in the US and Canada, virtual ones. I was just on one before ours. So in those meetings, I don't pretend not to be a pastor uh, when I'm having those meetings. Like we're having conversations and I'll use scriptural references. I had a conversation today where I was trying to explain to people there's only two reasons people object to buying the thing in front of them, right? Let's say it's a car. They either don't like the car, or they don't like the money, right? Every other concern hangs on these two things. You might catch that last part. So I said to them, I go, it's kind of like when Jesus was asked, what's the most important thing? He goes, love God with all you got, love your neighbors yourself. Everything else hangs on that. I go, guys, you've heard that, right? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, it's the same thing with this, right? There's two things here. Every other problem hangs on those things. But you're having a biblical reference with these guys and having those conversations. And it's like, we talk about it when we talk about human interaction when I'm doing sales meetings with clients. And it's like, here's why you don't get between a husband and a wife, because when they're married, you become what? It's like, oof, don't cause conflict. So it's like I reference scripture often in conversations because people God's word is written in our heart. So when it's right and it's authoritative, it resonates, right?
Yep.
But by the same token, I balance it. They're not coming to hear a sermon. So it's like I'm not trying to inject, let me preach and witness. And I'm not injecting that into the things that I do. But God is omnipresent. He's part of my everyday life. So if we're having a conversation, something's relevant, of course it just comes out. And if somebody's like, well, I don't like that, I'd be like, well, then don't pay attention to that.
Yeah.
You're not like it.
Yeah. I mean, one of my verses that I use a lot, in fact, I sign off a lot of my videos with that verse is Luke 9:23, where it says, if anyone should come after me, they must pick up their cross and die to themselves daily.
Yeah.
And I like that version better than Matthew's version of, Matthew 16:24, because Luke is saying die daily, pick up that cross and literally die to self and empty myself of all this, stuff of the world that's within me and fill my heart with, the love of God and the love of Christ so that I can reflect his glory to those around me. And that's always been something that I've hung on. So I'm totally with you there. But let me ask you this: in your walk or in your career,
Yeah.
has faith ever been something that has come up as, say, a stumbling block? Has it? Have you lost a deal over it, or a relationship, or a just a business relationship because somebody said, man, I just don't agree with that.
So I've been pretty blessed not to have lost a business relationship over faith. I think like anybody, if you've come from living one lifestyle, and it's very far from God, and then you make that shift, there are people that go, oh, I liked old you. I want nothing to do with new you. Yeah. Like, I think that just happens. And it's like, okay, like, what do you do? Right. It's just like, well, bummer, but obviously if you don't like the, I don't go out and party and I'm not wasted all the time guy. What did you actually like about me anyway? You didn't like me. You liked anybody who's a boozy alcoholic idiot. Right. So,
Right.
but I will say I've had some interesting moments that were hard to navigate. Like I had a automotive dealer that, they're 30 people in a room. And one of the guys we had 10 minutes left in the meeting. And I'm like, any other questions before we wrap? And well, the guy in the back of the room, who's a Middle Eastern guy, by the way, goes, yeah, I think I saw somewhere that you're like a pastor and stuff. He goes, so, yeah, if you don't mind, would you take a minute and share your story and your testimony? And, uh, this is cool, but also like, th- these people are paying the company, like, and they're not paying for that, right?
Right.
And this is a church. And I said, so here's the deal. I go, we've got 10 minutes left. And one or two things, happy to do that with you one-on-one. Happy to share it here, but I have to say this. The meetings part is done. So anybody who wants to take off, you're good to go. So I'm like, all right, waiting for everyone to get up and walk out. Now what? And I was like, okay, well, here we go. So it was a real cool opportunity that I didn't expect coming. And I'm one of those guys, dude, like, and when you get the word, like, it's powerful and it gets me very emotional. So going through and then telling my story, man, I hit a little weed beat. I'm like, okay, here's a group of salespeople where confidence matters. And it's like, whew, and I'm sharing this for them and it gets me a little choked up. And I wondered, I was like, okay, how are our meetings going to go? And you know what's crazy? I think they got better because I think they realized, like, okay, this guy's authentic. And go back to like even the AI stuff earlier, people value authenticity. And I think one of the challenges they have with folks who call themselves Christian, and the reason I say
Mhm.
it that way instead of saying the problem they have with Christians, I live in the Mid-South now, and here's what I've realized. So many people are more interested in being known as a Christian than they are following Christ. They'd rather be known as a Christian than be a follower of Christ.
Yeah.
And so I think the challenge people have is most people that they know who go, maybe most isn't fair. They've had encounters in their life more than once, I think, where someone who's, they've got John 3:16 in their bio and their bumper sticker, has got a cute little Bible quote. Everybody avoids John 3:17 because they don't want to debate that.
Right.
But it's like they got all the fun things in their bio, but then they're no different or worse than, right? Like they're the ones, it's a running joke, but it's true how much servers hate when people come to the restaurant after church because Christians tip like garbage, like stuff like
Mhm.
that, right? So I think people there's a stigma attached. So sometimes, you worry like, okay, is somebody going to think certain things about me because they associate Christian with this? So when I talk to people, I don't go, well, I'm a Christian, but I will talk about Jesus. Jesus said blank, or, it's in the Bible, like in this, that, right? Like, and so I'll communicate that way to it's very clear who I follow. It's very clear who the Lord of my life is, but I don't go, I'm a Christian because I think it elicits, sometimes a lack of trust or a gut like us, one of these guys who's got to make everything about his faith. I find people are open to the conversation if I don't go, oh, let me just make it clear about my faith first.
Yeah, I remember I came to Christ in 2006 is when I was baptized. And immediately I just started immersing myself, learning, trying to read and understand a lot of stuff. Um, and you're going to get some things wrong. You're never going to get it all right. But I wasn't just like out there with my faith, but I remember distinctly there's a time I was playing golf with some guys that I worked with. And there was one point where one of the guys who was playing with me basically said, Derek, man, you were a lot more fun before you became a Jesus freak. I had never said one word to him about ever being saved. I never, and this is a guy who was
Wow.
born and raised in Turkey. So he, is Muslim, by upbringing, but not necessarily by faith, right?
Yeah.
Just a cultural
Like
Muslim.
cultural Muslim. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just like, dude, I didn't tell you anything, but they could
Yeah.
clearly see that I was doing things differently, that I was walking differently, and I was on a different path. And, it was one of those things that just stood out to me that I was like, wow. But, you know,
It's interesting the way that people respond when
yeah,
I find out And that's the thing is like when I went from being out 5 nights a week before my wife and I got married, when I was living alone, I was going out 5 nights a week with friends, right? There's
Right.
karaoke, we're doing trivia, there's live music. Like that's what we did in West Michigan where I was at. And so every night when you're out in that environment, like people, they think, oh, like you're out and it's party and it's whatever. And it's like, well, what they didn't notice was like how the drinking dramatically just went to not eating to continue to. But I was still there with them, right? So the mindset didn't change. But it's like when I moved and got married and people are like, oh, what do you guys do? It's like, now we're homebodies. Like
Yeah.
that's just what we do. And it's funny because like a lot of the friends that I spent time with in Michigan were like, oh man, I want to come down to Tennessee. I want to go to Nashville. I want to go out. I want to go do all these things. And I'm like, I mean, we got an extra room and you're welcome to come, but you're going to be real bored if that's what you think we do.
Yeah.
Like we went to Nashville during the day and I'm like, well, it's already busier than I care to be in anymore. Right. But I think people, when they see the lifestyle change, they don't notice it until it's radically different. And then by then they're just like, what happened to you? And it's like,
So,
and they say with a good tone or a bad tone.
so with that said, Matt, let me ask you, how, as a Christian, how do you measure success in your life? You know, based on your morals, your values, your standards, and what the world says success is. How do you measure that in your life without kind of compromising?
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious when you say without compromising, what do you mean by that?
So the world tells us, that, you can have your truth and I can have my truth.
Oh,
You and I would probably say, no, there is really, truth is not subjective. It is objective, right?
yep.
So, there's a lot of lies that are being told by the enemy that is
Mm.
out there. And a lot of it goes to the fact that, when we look at spiritual warfare, we can honestly say, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they're doing, because
Yeah.
they can truly be under the reign of, Satan and not understand their actions.
Yeah.
And we
100%.
have to balance that as Christians. And so I know in my life, I look at success a lot differently. It has more to do with, um, the cohesivity of my family, my daily walk, and I just wanted to kind of
Yeah.
understand, especially when you've got Rockstar, right, which is all built around AI, right, and you're the
And it's
founder of
not
that
how it started
company.
either. It started framed around big events, conference events that felt like rock concerts.
Okay.
So that's how the brand came about, and I just kept the brand. But yeah, so now I think I understand the question better with identifying success. So to me, it's this. Number one, am I honoring God in the way I carry myself in my life? So for example, I'm married,
Yeah.
right? When I'm not with my wife, I'm still married. Every decision I make, two or one, right? So like, am I putting her before me? When people talk about pick up your cross and die daily, die to yourself, those are all true. But they've become really cliche sayings because when you're like, what do you mean by that? Right? A guy that I do some coaching with, amazing human, had made the comment, we were talking about his wife's children. And like, he's like, I love him more than anything, man. I would die for him. Da 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 da. Right. And I'm sitting here thinking Ephesians 5, right? And I'm like, oh. And so, and I'm like, well, would you really take a bullet for them? Because it's easy to say. But then one day we're talking about stuff, and this particular friend was just talking about how he was having a struggle with going back into church, the building, because he didn't like the church his wife was going to, and he didn't really care for what they were teaching. And I said to him, I go, so you don't think that what's being preached there is good and safe and right? Like, right? The word that's coming out is not good. And he's like, no. And I go, but didn't you tell me you would die for your wife and your daughter? And he goes, yeah. And I used pride language I shouldn't have, but I said he was full of BS.
Hmm.
And I said, because if you're not willing to wake up on Sunday for her, you will die for her. Like, you're full of crap. But here's the challenge. And And now here's a guy who's huge and muscular, and he just starts weeping. And I'll be honest, I was like, it's one of the most beautiful things ever. Like, finally, breakthrough in this coaching. But here's the thing: when we talk about picking up our cross daily, we think about, it's Revelation, it's the end times, and I take the mark of the beast or die, and I'll die. I'll pick up my cross. Picking up your cross is pick your laundry off the floor, bro. Like, picking up your cross is, my wife loves to go look at plant stuff, and I hate it. But I'll get up at 5 a.m. and go with her to be there by 6 to walk through a horrible greenhouse in Tennessee humidity, because it shows her that she's valuable, right? Like,
Yeah.
so to me, to Bentley's success, I go, does my wife feel like after God, she's the most important person in the whole wide world?
Yep.
If she does, I'm succeeding. Do my children know, no matter what, they're safe to call me as adults and go, Dad, I need your help? Okay, if they know that, I'm succeeding. Do the people in our little core group of our church plant, the people that I call friends that know me, do they know that I love them enough that I will sacrifice to help them if they're in need?
Yeah.
Like, to me, if these things are taking place, I'm successful. And here's the funny part: rarely do we get client cancellations. Like, in the last 10 years, I literally, up until 2 weeks ago, I could say I have lost 4 clients ever. Right? Well, 2 weeks ago, 3 crazy things happened with staff turnover at 3 different clients in 3 different parts of the country. 2 of them had complete leadership turnover. So when new leadership comes in, they cut every vendor and start over again. And one of them has had their staff turnover 3 times. And I'm like, REI is the only reason your business hasn't closed, right? But he had brought in another tool, and that company's known for causing chaos, right? Because then they try and blame everything on everyone else. Thankfully, we document stuff well. But this happened with this other third guy. So inside of 10 days, I lost $4,300 a month.
Yeah.
Gone. Like, boom. Now that's over 50 grand a year, right? And it just went away.
Yeah.
Within 10 days. And here's the crazy part. It's like, most people go, well, now I'm feeling, oh, I'm no longer a success. Oh, I lost $50,000 a year. I'm like, hey, God provided it in the first place. He'll provide it and then some.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, I've been there,
But
man. It's funny how once you start, getting a little bit prideful, how God will knock you down. Because I used to always say for like 10 years, we had never lost a client. And in less than a year, we lost 2 of our largest clients, one that cost us over $1 million over the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And, it wasn't fun, right? But it's one of those things that you live and you learn. So
10 years ago, though, my measurement of success would have been completely different. It would be,
Right.
last year we had 200 people at this event. Do we have 300 this year? If not, we're failing, right? If you're not growing, you're dying. Grant Cardone, right? If you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
And I used to measure it by that. Look, if I can't afford a bigger house, whether I buy it or not doesn't matter. But if I can't afford it, I'm failing. So when I walked back with God, my perspective shifted on that stuff.
Yeah, it always does, man. I mean, he always has a way of doing that.
Yeah.
Matt, we're kind of wrapping up here, but I wanted to kind of, given the time that we're at right now, I wanted to leave with one final question. And that is really, if you could provide, say, one piece of advice to, young entrepreneurs or founders that are coming up in the world today and wanting to start their own business, but not wanting to compromise on their faith, what would be that piece of advice that you would want to leave them with?
That piece of advice would be learn from people that have failed before you, who have put their business before their faith.
So a multitude of counsel, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If you remember, especially if you're a follower of Jesus and you're an entrepreneur, remember the opportunities you have are provided by God anyway, right? So fail fast. Just trust that God is pointing you in the right direction. Pray a lot and pray a lot and find a way. When you pray, shut up and listen for an answer, right? But pray a lot listen for an answer, and fail fast, because God's the one that's putting the opportunities in front of you anyway. And it's one of the best prayers I was ever taught, and it came from my wife, was, God, if this isn't where you want me to go, let it fail fast and slam the door shut.
Hmm.
We pray for failure from God. We pray that he will show us failure fast so we can course correct. And I think everybody spends time praying for success. And then we're missing things because we're like, is that the right success? Is that, but when you say, God, if this is wrong, please make it fail. You know what? Every time that I've asked him, he's done that. And it's great because I got reminded just a normal everyday sentence that doesn't sound like Bible cheesy. Uh, there's a new Denzel movie on Apple, Spike Lee joint, and there's a line in the movie that's so fantastic. Denzel says, "Not all money's good money." That's the other thing I would leave young entrepreneurs with. Not all money is good money. If anything makes your faith waver, it's not good money.
Right.
Just walk away. God will put the good money in front of you. Yep.
So for anybody listening today, Matt, as we wrap this up, where can people learn more about you? I know you've got your ministry of church planning and all too that we didn't really get into, but where can somebody learn more about you or get to know you or follow you?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. Listen, if they're looking for AI stuff, they can go to rockstarinfo.com. And then that'll point them there. There's demos. You don't even have to talk to a person. You can do a phone demo. You can do a texting demo all on your own. Then if you like it, you can tell it to book an appointment with me. If you're interested in what we're doing on the church side of stuff, you can go to localchurchgathering.com. And you'll see who we are, and you'll learn about the church plant and what we're doing. And if you just want to connect on social, if you look, real Matt Koenig is my handle just about everywhere. MATKOENIG. If you put it in and you see the bald guy with the goofy glasses and beard, and all the tattoos, you found the right place. So yeah. And I love connecting with good people. So yeah, please connect on social. I'm not gonna say like and subscribe, but just connect.
Yeah.
And I love to keep the conversations going. So thank you for the
Awesome.
opportunity, Derek. By the way, this so exciting, man. I'm pumped to be part of the show. And so thank you for the opportunity to join you.
Well, I appreciate you being my first guinea pig. So hopefully there's going to be a lot more of these, and hopefully, we can, provide some value to others out there that may be struggling with these same questions and the same, ideas that are floating around in their heads. Right.
Yeah. I love that you're doing it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Matt Koenig, thank you so much. And, that's a wrap. Appreciate it.